guys, happy Friday and welcome to what?
Jump in
with Raymond and Tanesha Sharp. I said your name.
No, you're good, baby. You're good. You can say my name.
But yeah, we're excited about today's live video.
Yeah.
And today we're going to talk about
making choices.
Making choices.
This is a very interesting topic for the both of us. It's something that we talk about quite a bit. I'm a person that, as much as possible, I try to prevent things from happening. And I believe that, there's certain things I can do as a man, as a father, to, prevent certain things from happening in my home. If I don't want certain things, if I don't want X to happen, I got to do A, B, and C, and it's preventative. However, you can't prevent everything, but there's certain things that I believe are preventative. And we bring this up because we encounter a lot of people who have who have relationship issues. Relationship issues with their kids, with their significant other. Some people have even some relationship issues at work where they don't feel like they maybe fit into a work environment or a work culture, or just, even in relation to the job, they feel inadequate or they're on edge about their job. And for some of the reasons that we're going to get into today. And I want to encourage people, especially, let's talk about, romantic relationships and relationships with your children. We need to find ourselves being completely honest in those relationships. Well, if you can't completely honest in all of your relationships, but in particular, we encounter people who need help with relationships, and they will tell us stuff that they won't tell the one that they're in a relationship with. It's like, have you told them this? No. Why not? This is the issue. I can't tell them this. Well, you're never going to have a whole relationship because you're not honest. You really can't expect someone to love you if they don't know you. You can't expect somebody to love you if they don't know all that you have been through. That's even affecting the way you think, the way that you're making behaviors and decisions, because their first thing is, this person doesn't make any sense. But in your mind, you know all of these things, so you think, well, why don't I make sense? It's because you haven't exposed all this to them. So you're living in a way that, your relationship will be flawed. I'm not going to say it might be, it will be, because, there's someone else on the opposite side of that relationship. They're going to feel that disconnect. Like, why is this person not, what's going on? What's on their mind? When we talk about some, a certain topic, they just clam up. They won't talk to me about it. Or if I'm approaching them this way, they just kind of like get defensive. I used to date someone who was in a previous abusive relationship. And whenever I can reach to hug her, and if I reach to hug her and it came close to her face, she always guard her face. I'm like, the first time she did it, I'm like, what's that? She's, I'm sorry. I'm like, what was that? Oh, no, I just, I'm like, whoa, no, we're going to talk about this right now. I said, what was that? I said, I don't do that. What in the world? And she said, look, and she told me she was in a very abusive relationship for a long period of time, and that was her defense mechanism. So just to hug her, I had to come low, not high, because I did. She guarded her face. And she was like that for some time. We dated for a little while, and she was like that. And it was, but had she not had that discussion with me, I would have said she crazy. I don't know what's wrong with her, and that's highly offensive. We have to stop calling people crazy. It's too dismissive. It's too easy. And when you say, oh, they crazy, I don't know what's wrong with them. Yeah, you rolled. The second part is right. The first part is they're not crazy. The second part is you don't know what's wrong with them. And on the other side is like, look, I'm not saying share everything you've been through with everybody, but if you're in a relationship and you expect it to go anywhere, or if you really like a person, things are going well, you need to have a night or a day or an occasion where you sit down, talk to each other, say, look, these are my challenges, these are my issues, this is what I need you to know about me. And don't make that choice for that person to say, well, you're going to have to deal with this when they don't even know what they're dealing with. And, some people like to say, well, they're going to have to take me as I am. But why? Like, some people, I know there's things that my wife has helped me overcome that, when she was good at identifying, Raymond, that's not the issue, this is the issue. I'm like, oh, really? She's like, yeah, let me show you how. And she just broke it down to me, and she said, you know what, don't worry about that, I'm going to help you with it. That's where we have to get to in our relationships, especially with our children and the ones that we're in romantic relationships with. We have to say, you know what, I see it, I'm not going to ignore it, I'm not going to ridicule you for it, I'm going to help you overcome that. And that's what we have to do. Relationships are work. I always say that, especially Marriage is for grown people. Marriage is for people who are willing to work, who are committed to improving themselves and their spouse, and who are open to difficult conversations. Sometimes it's not easy saying, hey babe, I noticed this about you, let's talk about it, because our first inclination is to get defensive. But if you can drop your guard, and if you really say you love someone, you will be honest with them, and if you in return say I love you, you will let them be honest with you as well.
Oh, that was good. Wow.
Yeah.
And it's fair to make sure you allow the other person to know, what they're dealing with, what's going on with you. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Ooh,
yeah.
That was a lot of information.
Yeah.
I hope that was helpful, guys. And then even taking this whole decision or choices that we make, there was a question that was asked, now this is kind of shifting a little bit. This is shifting to business. How do I make the best choice in business? And what I feel like she was asking is, how do I avoid failing? Like, how do I avoid never making a mistake? And like we talked about it before, even in business, when you're starting in with a business, that doesn't mean, you need to go in not making any mistakes. Like, it's in the mistakes where you learn how to make the best decision the next time. Or, a lot of times when you're building relationships with some of your clients and customers, you realize that I thought they needed this, but this is what they really need. And it's just like even relationships, really understanding, what the needs are and how to actually, meet those needs, but to make the right choices. So, wow, choices. So you're not gonna always make the right choice.
No.
Whether you're in business or relationship.
No. Can we talk about kids for a minute?
Yeah.
We have to.
I was wondering if you was finished, because I'm like, I know you got more.
Nah, it's. I'm concerned. I worked in education for 11 years. Part of that was K through 12. Another part of it was higher education, working with college students and adult learners. And a lot of the most interesting conversations I've ever gotten into with students is about the way that they were parented and the issues that it created for them. And not to tell people how to parent, I would say parent honestly. Let your kids know what's going on. Some of the worst things I've seen children and kids go through it is like, finding things out about their parents after they have passed away. Or it's very painful. A lot of kids right now are dealing with trauma from their youth, and a lot of the trauma, sometimes it's so easy to place blame on other people, but a lot of that trauma begins at home, okay? And some people may say, well, I'm a good parent, I don't abuse my children, I provide for my children, I do the best I can. All that may be true, but we have to make sure that we're examining how we measure what our best is. If you can say, well, my kids have it better than what I had it, that doesn't mean that they still have it good. You could have lived a level of dysfunction that was horrible, but because it's better than that horrible, that doesn't mean that it's still the best that you can provide for your children.
So true.
I'm telling you, one thing that I do my best to practice is when my children ask me questions, especially and sometimes they ask me some very difficult questions. I'm like, wow. I do my best to be honest with them, and I explain to them, well, this is how daddy looks at it, or this is daddy's line of thinking, because I want them to be able to have coherent conversations with their children. I always tell my children, you can come to me and talk to me about anything. And I think that's something that's difficult. And a lot of parents, they love to say that to their kids, and then when their children do come and talk to them, you blow up on them. And I'm telling you, parents, if you want to know everything, the first thing you have to do is be cool. Be cool, be calm, be collected. Even if you're bored. Yeah, they want to tell you.
They want to tell you.
If you can just allow your kids to have, not to say you're going to be their buddy, best friend, anything goes, but, the kids will tell you everything if they know that you can trust them, if they know they can trust you. That trust is, not holding things over their head. Now, I do believe that there's certain things that children, if they do and they get caught and they expose it, like, okay, look, thank you for telling me, I appreciate it, but you do understand that there's going to be some consequences for this. I'm not saying not to punish your children at all. My thing is, just don't go ballistic. And your first, now, get all the information first and you deal with it later, but your first response should not be to go ballistic, because sometimes after they tell you the first bombshell, there's usually 4 or 5 more, and you only got the one. You don't even know everything that happened.
Yeah,
and don't,
like, she can't handle it, or he can't handle the rest.
You don't go off on the first detail.
Yeah.
You sit and you say, is there anything else? That should be your first response. Is there anything else? What else do I need to know? And then, how can I help you through the situation? Why did you make that? You got to help kids understand what their line of thinking was, because that's what they don't understand. And so in that relationship, you know, we want kids to trust us, but they need to trust you as well, that I'm gonna come to you. I want to tell you everything, but once I do, help me. They're not telling you just to say, well, this is what I did, deal with it. It's, man, I need some help. Can you help me? What's wrong with my line of thinking? And one of the things that we don't like to hear as parents sometimes is that our children have a flawed line of thinking, especially when we do everything we can, or we think we're doing everything we can to help guide them in the right direction. So let's just be careful with our kids. I see a lot, and I've experienced speaking with a lot of broken kids, and their brokenness came from homes, and they came from home environments that seemingly would be ideal, but emotionally these kids did not get what they need. You know, socially these kids did not get what they need. Spiritually these kids did not get what they need. And on the spiritual side of things, I want to say this: we have to be careful with kids. If you're going to be honest with your children, be honest all the way. All the way. You know, the kids are sitting back watching everything you do, everything you say, how you treat people, and then how you talk about people as well. There are sponges. A lot of the things that our children are dealing with are learned behavior from us as parents. Even our fears, even the things that, you know, motivate us, good, bad, and indifferent. So that's true. We have to make a choice to live up to I guess you say, our word and what we tell our kids, but let's be honest with them. Let's be upfront. Let's make a choice not to make a decision for them and say, well, I'm going to teach you from what I know. And if what you know is flawed, you're putting flawed information into your children as well. Yeah. Oh, that's good. That's good. Thank you, dear. Thank you. How do I follow after that? No, stop saying that. No, but really, that's some really good information. And I think it's awesome when you're able to, even when you have to apologize to your kids, when you have to, you know, admitting that you were wrong. Mm-hmm. You know, even I, when I know even with my son, I'll, you know, something to come up and for whatever reason I was wrong. I apologize to all my kids if I, you know, and I do it quickly, and I want them to know that I'm willing to do that. Like, I want them to know that mommy makes mistakes too. And I think sometimes it's shocking when, you know, if they've never experienced that, and then like, mommy used to do this, like if they overhear a conversation when the family's talking and they say, yeah, but your mom used to do this or your dad used to do this, and you're like, wow, I thought my parents were perfect. And I think sometimes we want to portray as being perfect to our kids, and that's not, you know, that's not being real. That's not true. Yeah, and I mean, I'm not saying tell them everything that you did, but just say, hey, you know, when I was your age, I did that too. And they're like, what? You know, and I'm honest about that, you know, but I want my daughter to know, or my son to know, like, look, I can relate to what you're going through, because I used to do the same thing, but this is how I handle it. And like you said before, the biggest thing is just showing them how to deal with the things that they have to deal with, you know, how to process what's happening and how to make the best decisions, even with what they're going through. So last thing I want to say too about in relation to children, one thing that I can say earlier on, when my children were younger, much younger, I was, you know, just thinking about work and real estate and, you know, providing for my family, doing the best I could, and I got caught up in I don't feel like I was there enough, or I was aware. I wasn't present. Aware, present. I wasn't aware as much as I should have been for my first son. Little. Yeah. Braylon and Brielle especially. And I was there, but I was just tired all the time. My mind was on, you know, just, you know, I got to take care of this client. When I get to work, I got to do this. My mind was all over the place. And I didn't realize it until my wife was like, oh, Raymond, you remember when Braylon said that? And I'm like, he said that? When? Or he did something? Or I'm like, I don't remember that shit. Raymond, he was sitting right there. And I saw it, but my mind was on something completely different. So when we have our youngest, we had Bennett, I really made a conscious effort to slow down and really absorb everything that was going on with my children. And I think that in our pursuit of life, let's not forget our kids. Let's not forget to relish and take advantage of every moment. I know it's challenging.
Even especially teachable moments.
Yeah, teachable moments. That I'm big on that now. I'm just taking time and like teaching my son certain things. And you'll begin to see the fruits of it. I see it now in my kids, and I'm very thankful I started doing that. And so now I make a concerted effort to make sure I take like quality, real, not just, I spent time with the kids, but really you just with them, your mind's on other things. I try my best to be in the world, to ask them what's going on with them. And I get surprised. Like I had an interesting conversation with my oldest son about relationships, and who he liked and everything. And he had some fly stuff to say. I was like, wow, son. And I was just looking at him like, I wish I thought like that when I was your age. So it did two things for me. One, I was very proud of him that his line of thinking is the way it is. And two,
I want to hear what he said.
Yeah, I'll tell you later.
Okay.
I'll tell you later. But it also gave me like, okay, I felt good because I felt like my son's on the right track. I really did. And I like the way he's looking at things, because
that's important to know what they're thinking.
Yes. So put yourself in their space. Even if you don't like what they're watching or like what they're doing, you're not into it. My wife, she does a very good job of, like me and my sons are into Star Wars and comic book movies, and she can care less, but she's there with us, and she's learned. And so now we all can have conversations about that. And I think mom is cool because mommy understands, she knows who comic book characters are and everything like that. So it's
I'm
like,
willing to learn,
she was willing to learn. So be willing to learn something different. There's some other, she's willing to learn some things about sports. Yeah, but she made a choice. So we still talking about choices. You have to make a choice. Like, man, if instead of saying I don't like that, or I don't deal with that, or I don't good with that, you have to really examine, why do you think that? Why is that an issue for you? And then re-examine it and say, okay, well, let me try it again. Let me come back to it. And sometimes it may be attached to a traumatic situation. So if you're with someone who thinks like that or behaves like that, and
healing could begin to take place if you tell them and give them opportunity to know what's going on with you. They can help you through that. They can help you heal through that situation. They can love you through that situation. That's awesome.
It is.
All right. Well, that's it. All right. Well, that's all we have today for Jump In. So jump in, stay in, relationships, business, whatever it is, jump in. And until next time, jump in. Have a wonderful weekend. We love you guys.
Jump into better choices.
Yes, better choices. Learn from your mistakes.
All
right, bye-bye.